So this week we're looking at reasons why the Bible can be trusted. Now, many of you might already believe that the Bible is the inspired Word of God, and that is great. But I believe it's sometimes good for us to think about, why am I trusting the Bible and why can it be trusted? Not just for ourselves, but also for others, because sometimes people are skeptics, sometimes people have questions, and we need to be able to point them to the Word of God, but we also need to be able to explain to them why the Bible can be trusted as the Word of God. And what I would like to look at today is the prophecies of the Bible. This is really one of the things that convinced me in my life that the Bible is inspired, and it is of God. And especially when we look at the prophecies of Jesus, it is marvelous. And, scholars have different views on how many prophecies he exactly fulfilled. But a conservative view is that he fulfilled at least 100 prophecies. Now, many people would say there's a lot more that he fulfilled, but we can really say conservatively that he fulfilled at least 100 prophecies. And many of those prophecies, in fact, most of them, he had no control over. So, for example, in the Old Testament, it was prophesied that he would be born in Bethlehem. Now, you can't control where you are getting born. That is something that's out of your control. The Bible also prophesied from which tribe he would come, who his descendants would be. That's not something you can control. And the Bible is full of prophecies about Jesus. And I just told you that, we know he fulfilled at least 100. And one guy said that if he fulfilled just eight of those many prophecies that were made of the Messiah, then the probability of him doing that is like going to the state of Texas in America. Now, if you don't know, that's a huge state. It could be a country on its own. But he said it's like, going to that state and taking small coins, like a 5 rand, I believe in South Africa, but taking 5 rand coins and throwing it all over that state and making it a meter high. Letting the coin stand at a meter high all over that state. And then you take one coin and you make a mark on it. And then you throw it and you mix it in there. Then the chances of, someone going there being blindfolded, and then you drop him from a helicopter and tell him, try and find the coin with the mark on. The chances of him finding that, coin with the mark on is the probability of Jesus, someone fulfilling just 8 prophecies of the Messiah that we find in the Old Testament. And he fulfilled, a lot more than that. So it's crazy when we look at it, how the Bible prophesied things. Jesus even prophesied things. And some of it have already been fulfilled. It is crazy. But then we also see the Bible, makes prophecies concerning the end times, concerning the second coming of Jesus. And that is something we can look forward to as believers. Because not only has the Bible prophesied about things that have already been fulfilled, it's also prophesying about things to come. And for the believer, it's all good news. For the believer, it's all glorious, and we can look forward to. In fact, for every time the Bible mentions the first coming of Jesus, it mentions his second coming 8 times. So we can be excited. We can trust the Bible. If we look at the prophecies of the Old Testament that have already been fulfilled literally, we can be confident that the prophecies that haven't been fulfilled yet will be fulfilled literally as well. So we can be excited about it. The best is yet to come for the believer, but we can trust the Bible because of its prophecies. And many of those prophecies have already been fulfilled through Jesus and through other events. But if that doesn't convince you that the Bible is the Word of God, I don't know what will. But it's one of the reasons why we can trust the Bible with all of our hearts. Remember, you are highly favored and deeply loved.